Hello everybody, my name is Hello. Welcome to this video series where we are solving Codeforces problems in Python. Today we're going to be solving round 970 problem A, which is called Sakurako's exam. Let's see how we're solving this problem. So Sakurako has a math exam. The teacher gave the array consisting of A ones and B zeros. Okay, so if you put this something like a dictionary, it'll look like the count of ones will be A and count of twos will be B. And then they say in an array, Sakurako must place either a plus or a minus in front of each element. So has to place these ones and twos in such a way that the sum of all elements equals 0. Sakurako is not sure if it is possible to solve this problem. So determine whether there is a way to assign such signs that the sum of all elements in the array is equal to 0. And they're asking you whether it's possible given the numbers A and B. Okay, the number of ones and the number of two. The input is something like they'll give you T, the number of test cases, followed by in every test case you get A and B. How are we solving this problem? Look, one thing to keep in mind is, let's say, when does an array become 0? Let's say there are 5 ones, or let's say there are 6 ones and 2 twos. Okay, so I can do something like 1 plus minus 1 plus 1 minus 1 plus 1 minus 1, 6 ones are over, plus 2 minus 2, correct? So if I'm able to get one duplicate of every element I have, like this, I can just subtract those two and make the sum 0. So all of that, when you add it, you will get 0. That is one way to approach this problem, yes. And when do you get a duplicate of an element? When that element is divisible by 2. By duplicate, I mean every element has, so this one will have another one that can be subtracted from it. Okay, so if this value of A and this value of B is even, if both are even, I am guaranteed that I can make a structure where the total is 0, because I can just take what, 6 by 2 ones or A by 2 ones, A by 2 ones, subtract them from A by 2 ones. Similarly, I can take B by 2 twos, subtract them by B by 2 twos, and this will give me the answer. Super. Now that we've dealt with one case on how this particular thing can be worked out, let us take all possible sets. See, A can either be odd or even, B can either be odd or even, right? So let us take that. So A is odd and B is even, right? And there's a case where A is even, B is odd, and then there's a case where A is odd, where B is also odd, and finally there's a case where A is even and B is even. Okay, so these are the 4 cases that we'll be leading. Let's take case number 1. Okay, if the number of ones is odd, if the number of ones, I'm saying A is the number of ones, right? Let's say I have something like 5 ones and I have 6 twos. Okay, obviously these twos can do something like 2 minus 2 plus 2 minus 2 plus 2 minus 2. So this will be equal to 0. Super. Now for this part right here, I cannot do the same because I cannot split this into B by 2 or B by 2, correct? In that particular case, regardless of whatever type of permutation combination I do, if A is odd, I cannot get the answer and I cannot get a sequence where there is a 0. So this answer will be no. And regardless of what B value is, if A is odd, I can just say the answer is no. So even in this particular case, I can say the answer is no. Okay. What if A is even and B is even? That's the case that we saw there. We can just split this into B by 2 and A by 2 and A by 2, and it is guaranteed that it will be equal to 0. In that particular case, we can say this case is yes. And finally, we have to deal with this case. What if A is even and B is odd? Okay. Let's say there are something like the number of ones is 2. But the number of 2 is something like 5. Okay, so I'm going to do something like 2 minus 2 plus 2 minus 2. 4 2s are done. My 5th 2, I'll do a plus 2, and these ones, what I'll do minus 1 and minus 1. What do I get now? This will be 0, yes. This will be 0, yes. This will also be 0. So I am able to mimic whatever this value is there. I can match that with 2 ones to make this value even. So instead of this 2 being odd, I can take 2 ones from here and make this 2 even. That is, that the number of 2s will now be 6 effectively. This 2, this 2, this 2, this pair. Okay. So that means as long as I have 2 values here, if A is even, A minus 2 will also be even, right? That means if A minus 2 is even, I can split this value into 2 halves. So obviously I can make this into some equation which says 0. Yes. and this 2 value will go to this count of that 2b value, and that will also become even, and therefore this will also be 0. Then I can solve this answer. When can I not solve this answer? Can you think of a case where that, let's for example say a's value is 0, right, and 2 is 5. Obviously that will be still the same case, 2 plus 2 minus 2 minus 2, this will be there. The fifth 2, you can either plus 2 or minus 2, this will give you plus 2 or minus 2 as the answer. It cannot give you 0 because there is no ones to borrow to make that 2 to negate this particular value right here. So what do you do in that case? Where do you draw this condition where you check if this is yes or no? This case is yes or no. If the value, if a is even, if the value of the number of ones, that is if a is greater than equal to 2, then this case will be yes. Okay. If the value of a is lesser than equal to 2, that is if it is 0, that is the only case where it will be less than equal to 2 and even at the same time, the answer will be no in that particular case. If you're able to understand this, try to code this for yourself. If not, let's see how the code also looks like for that. We have 4 cases here. Let's try to implement all 4 of those cases in Python. Okay. So firstly, what do? We take n as input. So that will be int of input. Okay. Then what do? We take n test cases or t test cases. We do for in range n, and we take a and b values. So that will be list of map of int comma input dot rstrip dot speed. And then what do? We check if a percentage 2 is not equal to 0. That is if a is odd. Okay, this is nothing but if a is odd, then definitely the answer is no. That is what we discussed now, right? So no. Else what do? We check if b is even. B percentage 2 equal to 0. That is in this case right here, a is even and b is even. We can close our eyes and say yes, the answer is yes, because you can do a by 2, b by 2. Yes. Else if b is odd. If b is odd, then what do we check? Check for the count of a. If a is greater than or equal to 2, in that particular case print yes. In the other case where a is 0, print no, because in that case you cannot borrow values and you cannot make this right. So if I run this code, you can see the tests have passed. So let me just go ahead and submit this code so that you guys know it works. So as you can see, it got accepted. That's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. If this video helped you, hit that like button. If you guys have any alternative approaches, let me know down in the comments. Again, I'll see you in another video. Until then,